In this DIY, we're going to show you how to make a pair of bedside tables. In this particular design, I tried to complement a previous DIY that I did for a headboard. I used 21mm shutter ply and I used the same dark burnt brown wood stain sealer. Again, I've used 21mm shutter ply to make two of these tables. I doubled up the thickness just to give it that chunky industrial look, and I used a standard size of 450 by 450 as well as 450 for the height. But for the legs, I did remove the double thickness that I used on the top here, so I went with a 450 minus 42 mils. Now I've done the thinking for you. It's all on the cutting list. Take the cutting list to builders, because the last thing you want to do is to bring that large 2.4 by 1.2 board in your car all the way home and then start cutting it yourself. Get builders to cut it for you, and then all this fits easily into your car, so you can go home and then get stuck into the fun part of the DIY, which is the assembly. Let's get started. So here's what you need: a cordless drill, a screw pilot, some 35mm cut screws and some 75mm cut screws, a scraper, some wood filler, some wood glue, a paintbrush, some wood sealer, and some clamps. The first thing I'm going to do is start by doubling up each of the panels to create that double thick surface for the legs and for the tabletop. When selecting your pair, try and select the nicer grained surface on the outer edge and the rougher one on the inside. That way it's hidden away. And I'm going to pop it over to the side of the table here, so I've got easy access for my clamps. And we're going to put some wood glue in between the mating surface before we screw this together. When I'm putting in the wood glue, I'm going to actually put it quite close to the edge, because when I squeeze it together, I want that glue to squeeze out to ensure that it's got a good bond and a good join all the way around those edges. That way it looks like one seamless piece of timber. I'm using a smooth shank 35mm screw, and the reason being is it's a cut screw. It'll cut itself into the timber. I don't need to drill a pilot hole. That'll go all the way down, and the smooth shank will act as a clearance on the top piece so that you won't get a jacked joint where the two pieces are separated. As it screws into the second piece, the head will then pull the top piece down tightly onto the timber, and you should see that glue squirting out as it clamps tight. I'm also using the square bit as well, as I just find it is much easier and it allows a lot more user error. I've got my first screw in. I'm just going to proceed all the way around and then pop one in the middle too. I find it easier just to tack the screws into position, and then I can run with like a little production line all the way around to put all the screws in. That's the first piece done. It's as simple as that. You're now going to proceed and do the exact same thing with all the pieces until we've got two legs and a tabletop for each table. The tabletop is finished. I've got my two legs. I now need to join those all together. Now there's a few ways that you can do this. One of my favorites is using pocket holes, where you'd actually put a pocket hole on the underside, on the side there, screw that all the way through into the tabletop, and then it's hidden away. Now a pocket hole does create a diagonal joint, which is a very strong joint. However, what I'm going to do for this one is I'm just going to use the old-fashioned way and put a screw in from the bottom side, or should I say the top side of the tabletop, all the way through into the leg. I'm going to sink it down below the surface level using the speed pilot and the countersink, and that way that screw can be filled up afterwards and then hidden out of sight. Right, our first leg is going to go on the side. Make sure we've got the rough side on the inside, and we're going to fill those holes up later with some wood filler. And this is where that balancing act comes in. As I put that tabletop on top, so it's going to start falling over. So an easy way to get around that, just turn that one 90 degrees, then we can pick this up and put it into position. And that's sturdy, it's not going to fall over, so you can take your hands off and work on the one side. Now obviously I'm going to put some wood glue there. Wood glue on the top between the mating surfaces, right close to the edge, because I want it to bulge all the way out to make sure that it doesn't look like it's delaminating. If you want to make use of a larger clamp, you can just to clamp that down, or you can hold it in position and screw down gently. There you have it, our structure is complete. I'm going to fill these holes with some wood filler and allow that to dry, and then give it a good sand down to remove any sharp edges and make sure that I've got the boards lining up flush and smooth. When using wood filler, there's a range of different colors to choose from. If you're going to go with a light clear finish, make use of the pine wood filler to match up with the surface that you're using. I'm going to be finally staining this table with a dark wood stain and wood sealer. So I can actually use a dark wood filler, or I can use the pine one to match. Either one is fine. Once that's dried, give it a good sand down, and then we're ready to stain and seal. There's the good old-fashioned way with sandpaper, which is a lot of effort and a lot of hard work. I always like to use an electric sander. It really does take out the pain and hard work in a DIY. Carry on staining and sealing that up. Remember, you need to apply at least 2 coats. Once you finish that one, you're starting on the next one so that you can have that matching pair. Once complete, off into situ and start enjoying your new side tables. There you have it. I'm actually quite happy with that. It definitely complements the headboard, but there still seems to be something missing. I think I have another DIY, maybe a reading lamp attached to the headboard or a side lamp. From this DIY guide to you, hopefully I've inspired you to be creative or even replicate this exact DIY. The most important thing is be amazing and love the DIY therapy. If you enjoyed this clip, like it and share it. You can also subscribe to our Builders YouTube channel, where there's a range of product reviews and DIYs just like this for you to view.